My name is Mike Forsberg. I'm a retired FSA farmer. So I'm going to try to experience you in terms of what certain options that FSA has. But I've retired about a year now. Some things have changed, but I forgot to look into. A little bit of background on myself. I grew up on a family farm. We had corn, pigs, cattle. When I graduated high school, went to college, like most farmers back then, when the labor force left, the livestock. So that's kind of farming. Went to school at South Dakota State for 4 years. I graduate degree in ag business, and then get connected. Upon graduation, I went to work for FSA. Big long story short, I got a phone call. I got a job. Well, back then, when you're in college, about to graduate, you say yes. And I was going to start, take the last test on Thursday. I started the following Monday. I had no idea where in Minnesota I was going. I just said yes. They told me town. I don't think it was. At that point in time, a future wife was with me, and she goes, "Yes, I know where that's at." That was her backyard. So it's like, wow, I was gonna get away from that one at all. When I started with FSA, I really didn't plan on being there very long. Probably a year or two, and I was going back in Production Credit Association of Plant Makers. Never did. I worked for the agency for almost 40 years. 35 of which I was a farm law manager. And I've been in business since 1990. I only remember the day I started there because of April Fool's Week, the first starting. So I was telling myself to get cruel, April Fool's joke because here I am. But I enjoyed my career. I enjoy what I did, so it's not like I retired because I would like a good job. I basically retired because get to the point in time when enough is enough. And let somebody else. Okay. Let's go back to myself. To give me an idea of how many here are from Minnesota? Just so everybody else is out of state? Okay. Well, what I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter what state you're in. The FSA programs are the FSA programs. So it's no different here than in Massachusetts or wherever. Okay. What is primary loan servicing? It's kind of why you guys are here today. It's programs available to borrowers who account for distress or delinquent due to circumstances beyond control and may need assistance in paying loans. By law, our primary loan servicing actions follow detailed guidelines with important deadlines. The primary loan servicing encompasses numerous options with the goal of servicing the borrower's account to maximize loan repayment for them and also minimize loss of the agency. Key terminology. A borrower. That's an individual or entity without saying debt obligation, which includes all liable parties. What's a delinquent borrower? He's a borrower or she who failed to make all scheduled payments for their due date and 1 day late was the borrower to us. Default? Failure to borrow to keep any agreement with FSA containing a promise of security instruments or other related instruments cause default. What's financial distress? The borrower is current with us in our loan payments, but they're unable to develop feasible plans with current home production cycle. Current won't be able to pay for something. What is good faith? That's when borrower plays current, complete, and truthful information to us. Complies with law agreement with the agency to the best of our ability. Now, some notes on here, the borrower's signed notes. That's basically anybody that signed that promise. Well, it's the borrower, co-signer, partner, or other spouse, they sign a note if they're considered borrower. When we talk about monetary defaults, there's monetary and non-monetary. A monetary default, we put it as payments. They took a non-monetary default. That's a default in some agreement you didn't keep. So it's not dollar related agency. Example, non-monetary default. You're supposed to protect their security. Keep insurance. Let's keep the real estate taxes. In some cases, a third party would foreclose on the default in their students. That's a non-monetary default. What type of service I'm going to talk about today? We're talking about the conservation contract, rescheduling, consolidation, reamortization, deferral, write down, other programs we talked about too, be disaster set aside, distress power set aside, debt setup, extending maturity date, and balloon payments. Yeah. Our options. First thing to about our time frames. We will formally notify our borrower of their rights when their current express financial distress. That's somebody that's current to FSA, they know they're in trouble. So they contact us about saying they got this problem, or we visit them, they think of a problem. We'll let them know their rights. Okay. We'll notify them they come 90 days past due. Okay, so notice they had due date January 1st. Come April 1st, it's 90 days. They're gonna notify them also of servicing options. And we also notify them when determined to be a non-monetary default. Something triggers some action causes a default. We're getting to notify of our servicing options available to help cure this. That's the whole idea of the program. But what can we do to help you cure it? Now, if you have to be current or financially distressed, you can submit a fleet application at any point prior to the 90 days past. Okay. So there's no time frame to apply, just once you're financially distressed, you can apply at any point in time. If we don't get an application, we will formally notify you when a 90-day default occurs. So if you don't do anything, eventually it's called a default. When you go 90 days past due, they notify you again. Now, I call this a soft notice versus hard notice. Soft notice, you 90 days past due. If you don't do anything, FSA never even do anything. But when you go 90 days past due, or you got non-bank default, whatever, that is a hard notice. That tells you, hey, guess what? We have a problem here. It's going to get fixed. That hard notice is important because when you're 90 days past due or non-bank default, we need an application renewal within 60 days to be made. That's statutory time. So that hard notice is so long to apply. Or I always tell people to look out, keep calm. Okay. It's very important to complete it. That's a legal requirement. Don't do anything about it. They don't apply to deadlines, at least they have to provide these parameters servicing options. In extraordinary circumstances, the SED is authority to accept late filed one. If reasonable, it's clearly beyond the control of the in my 40 years of work, I would believe it's going to take something really extraordinary to cause a problem. It's going to be a medical issue, health issue. Other than that, once you get notified, time frames. FSA. We got to act on your application to provide your decision within 60 days of receipt of So once you get the application from us, our rules say, we gotta let you give the answer in 60 days. There is one exception though, that processing this request requires real estate appraisals, we can't have for 90 days. Reasonably longer, potentially in that case, it takes time to move appraisal. If we come up with an offer for them, we're gonna notify them. They then have 45 days to accept it. So this takes time. We notify you delinquent, you got 60 days to fly. You plead out 60 days, I get 60-day detention, and then 90 days to get the answer. They don't get the answer, you have 45 days yet to accept it. Now, if a borrower is timely applied, we can't develop a feasible plan. Feasible plan of the plan, the cash flow plan that works. Enough income to on the application. Okay. Or to determine not eligible. You're not say around research eligibility criteria to receive an offer. Besides repayment. If one of those two things happen, you will be denied from criminal service. And if they're past 90 days past due, as I said, called a hard notice. The denial will also include notice for intent to solicit. I'm not going down that path today. Right, we'll explain searching actions, keep these guys going, okay? But I do understand that certain things can't happen through things. A borrower did not timely apply for servicing, did not timely accept it, will also be notified of intent to accept. Bottom line, they get hard notice and time clock keeps going. Keep on chugging. Okay. Now, if you're notified or intent to accelerate, you have 30 days to request mediation, request reconsideration appeal. You have 14 days to request mediation. What that is, it doesn't matter what program you have. Parallel service the same way, loan making the same way. When we deny somebody an option, like service, they're going to get a denial. Since here's what I have to say: deny it and why, and the reasons for it. And that letter gives them the right to request first reconsideration to FSA. Reconsideration is meeting with the official that denied your request to discuss why we denied and why you think our decision is error. FSA is not perfect. It cares everybody else. So it's your right to meet with us to say, you made this decision, but here's why I think you're correct. Reconsideration. And after reconsideration, we just send you a letter saying, nope, I'm still denied you. Or we say, yep, here's the problem, here's how. If you don't want reconsideration, it's going to request an appeal. U.S. Department of Ag, USD, as they call it, appeal division. It's handled by the administrative law judge. Or you as an appellant can apply to have the agency decision looked at. It's going to appeal it. It thinks you're wrong. This division is at least some of FSA. Our people listen to us and our decision. Okay. This individual is going to sit there and he's going to say, okay, here's the decision FSA made. But we can tell us exactly what we did and why. And he's going to ask us, why, God, where do you think the error is? What is wrong? It's in his case. And that's what the attorney comes in. The advocate, which is fine. Again, we're not perfect. The administrative law judge will then make a decision on the agency's decision. Were you right? The basic decision will dictate what path we get to now. We're also going to offer these individuals mediation. Soon all states have. Minnesota has a state certified one, which is nice. We're out for mediation. Mediation is based on fair party. Just listens to what's our issues, what's our problem. We have some solutions. tries to get all parties involved. It's just things that we thought of, and things that they need to consider to allow this individual to keep on. Just for your knowledge, or for your knowledge, when they go in default, and when the agency notifies them, it's hard notice in default. They are going to notify them, since they're delinquent borrower, that FSA is going to start trying to pursue a terminal condition loss. It's a process that FSA uses to offset program payments owed to borrower with the USDA, including FSA farm program payments, NRCS, and the USDA payments. However, not all FSA farm programs are subject to offset. Borrowers are notified of their intent to collect this offset once they come 90 days past due, and payments begin to be offset after the 31st day they got that offset. So at the same time we notify them that 90 days past due, we're also going to notify them if we can't get it resolved, we're going to start an administrative offset. And that's other FSA program payments.
Mike,
Yes.
that also includes possible IRS roofs and stuff.
That's next slide. You're good.
Well, so what's your question?
You're good.
What was your question? I'm ahead of it.
Her question is, does this also include treasure offset program? That's a separate one. Again, the same thing. You come to Lakewood. This is a program that allows us to offset federal payments owed to borrow outside the USDA treasury offset program. It's operated from treasury. These payments are offset federal refunds, tend to be a federal contract vendor, potentially federal salary offsets, retirement benefits, social security payroll. So we can look at notifying them and delinquent. If we can't get this default cured, we're going to these options also. Okay. Now this offset, they get notified from the treasury from us. Treasury will notify them what's offset to make these payments too, and refer to from the treasury. Basically, they send a separate letter, give them 6 days due process before payments will start. Okay. That's treasury offset. I just wanted to notify these things. Again, we hope we're going on the path, serve someone to do these things, but they will be able to pass them. The thing to remember about these two things, they only apply if they're delinquent. So if they're current with us, since we did. Complete application. Like I said, we notify you of service. When you're current or delinquent, we need an application that we can help, we can consider for you. Okay? What is it? There's an application form we have. It's a request for direct loan assistance. So what's a direct loan assistance? That means also loan making also works for loan servicing. Okay. Whoever is liable to loan needs to sign that request. All parties that are liable with us to apply for services, the request. Their financial records for the most 3 recent years, including tax returns, production records for the most 3 recent years, copies of leases, contracts, options, agreements for their documentation was needed. We gotta verify the outflow of income. We gotta verify the dance period, $5,000. We gotta document the multiple lives. Those things there we need for sure. Okay. Now, financial records the last 3 years, including tax returns. A lot of times it helps if they get less 5 too. Depends on their history. As you understand, they're trying to find all ways to find a viable plan, which history tells you a lot. Because the economics of the last couple of years, these last 3 years shows you bad stuff. But what are we going to work on? So it gives bad stuff. So maybe before then you were doing pretty good. So a lot of times it helps give you 5 years, it gives you more of a track record. Our goal is to find options to help them all. Production records. A lot of times we see is crop insurance. Just crop insurance. So that's more than three. It's good. Production records are hard for these individuals is the livestock ones. The number of heads sold and so forth. Hopefully with them records that gives it to us in their production history. A copy of leases contracts, well, just like it says, if you've got a lease on a tractor, let's verify which payments. Contracts. If you have contracts to sell some crop, you have contracts like a hog barn. These contracts help show your income level potential. You want to count it up. Verification of non-farm income, just that somehow, if you're providing non-farm income, they want us to verify, yes, you have it. We gotta verify debts greater than $5,000. I tell every applicant, you give me your balance sheet. Here's the debt you owe. I don't care who you owe it to. It's over $5,000. I need to verify. So if you owe Ruth Ann Carty $6,000, guess who I want verification from? Carty. We're gonna open an account. Elevator $10,000. I need a verification from. A lot of people don't think about them open accounts. They think that's a debt. It's over $5,000. Can verify. Okay. The documentation of environmental compliance, that's been basically it's just that they've got a 1026, the 80-1026. The swamp buster side of certification. They're not going to violate those agreements. Pretty much every farmer has got that. So I've never seen ever be an issue for them. All right, those are the things I need. Period. So the next two items, they're optional. They want to apply for it now. One is they want to look at a conservation contract we'll discuss. They need aerial photos of the area they want us to potentially consider that contract down. Or if they want to apply for debt sum. Okay. Now to be honest with you, in my entire career, I never had anybody apply for debt sum at this stage. So you have one with that? Okay, so it can happen, but that's very rare.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Yes,
Or was that the debt settlement, is that just working out an agreed figure to cancel anything?
yes. You're just saying it's a debt summit, and there'll be slides later on it.
Oh,
Bring up for that. So the bottom line is the debt summit is a way of trying to settle the debt. Because we're off to be done with you after the session. Okay. Like I said, hopefully we don't have to go down that path, because this is what we want to go down. Try to get it far. It's the debt summit option. Okay. We're talking about eligibility. What are they? Well, this is borrowing was acting in good faith. It's good faith, and if they need their agreements, they wrote the FSA, keep things up. They don't have non-essential assets that can be liquidated to cure the delinquency. We'll talk about that for later on. It's an asset that does not contribute income towards family living for expenses. And you agree with this one time, don't explain what it is and why. They have to be incurred financial stress or must pay some for interest prior to loan closing. They're saying there, if you're gonna be able to do something, they're gonna want to collect it. And that's for a current financial, those that are current, they can't pay it all, they can't part, There has been delinquency or distress beyond your control. So what caused it? The action is reasonable, that your action caused the full delinquency or distress. Borrower must cure any non-market default or vertical. They can't disqualify the federal court. So, we're going to want to act in good faith, that's what it means. You kept your tax and insurance up, protect their securities, and no conversion of collateral, no tax. Talk about non-essential assets later. If you're a current borrower, you can be able to pay some, they're going to want to get it from. There's gonna be a reason for the delinquency. What caused it? Was it beyond your control? Even one this year is gonna be, at least in this area, where everybody, the low prices, so really causing the problems. And is that beyond his control? Absolutely. In my area, we've had too much rain on ground out spots. Mother Nature, that's beyond your control, right? It's gotta be something beyond your control. Was carrying non-monetary default for closing. A lot of times they see there is they notify them about non-monetary default, they can pay their tax, like what real estate taxes. Just got cured. They can't be disqualified from insurance. Low security considerations. Now, borrower must not have non-essential assets for recovery values sufficient to resolve the financial stress. So what they talk about there, it's a non-essential assets that they have interest in that doesn't contribute to the income, to pay living, doesn't contribute to pay for forever operating, and not exempt from general creditors. So the non-essential assets I really see most of the time. Sorry, I see it's boat. Don't need that to deliver a farm. Camping, don't need that to deliver a farm. Fish house. That's usually the three biggest ones I see. What they're gonna do is they're gonna do an appraisal of it, see if it's enough with liquidation costs to pay the delinquency. If it is, you get that resource, they'll be eligible. But if it's not enough to pay the delinquency off, you're still good. If the borrower is delinquent prior to restructuring, additional is going to be required. It's available to reach 120% of the security margin. We're looking to name all your assets you have or entity members to try to achieve that. We're not going to separate security. Because this particular clause only applies if they're delinquent. So if you're a current financial stress borrower, you're not looking to take any more security if they got already. This is why I think it's very important. If you know something's going to be issued, where it's really nice you can get it before they go delinquent. Because then if they have some other assets out there, they're not going to try to take it. Otherwise, they're delinquent. If they kind of don't have it, they're going to take it. To try to achieve it 25%. And they can't separate it either. So maybe it's 40-acre tract of land worth plenty. They gotta take that, so get to 125, you know, it's worth a lot more than that. It don't matter. Can't split it up, they're gonna take it. Now, all these options. Use a program called E-Dollars, the debt adjustment loan restructuring system, to evaluate all these requests. All these service requests we're going to be talking about are made for this program. It quickly evaluates every combination to assure it's a possible combination that would make this operation work. The dollars program follows the same process for everybody. It's assured that everyone who applies for the application gets treated the same way for certain alternatives. As I said, no matter what stage you're in, programs are safe. Much of the data needed for these calculations entered into programs from us, for our business plan system, that's our cash flow format system, and our accounting system. This just allows the state to reach all. So the key to this here, next to these options, and I'll tell you the same thing. This program figures out what you can do with what FSA. So the most important thing is going to be everything else but FSA. We want to make sure you get correct your cash flow plan. Do we have all your information correct as far as your income and your expenses besides us? That's the key. We're not chasing after, this is chasing after what's left for us. This program, we're taking up the options. We'll now try to figure out, can we fit one with what's left? But I gotta make sure it's accurate to get there. So that's the key. $E,
Yes.
information used by it, will determine services of the borrower. There's the input, put in the program, it figures it all out, tells us the answer. And so we're gonna figure out the cash flow plan, what we need. But he said the key to that is I want to try to get everything else accurate but us. So I can know what's left for me, and just figure out, can I get to fit within it? Existing loans with me, any new loan requests you have, what interest rate I can consider. I'll tell you the appraised values, because we'll see later on, well, that's important. Any constants they have, let's say constants, the program is figuring out net recovery costs. What's the cost to consider constants? You have to put in the program. So here's the first thing you look at. So now I'm going to talk about what does $E do? The first thing is look at the conservation contract. This was the optional one we talked about. At times I wish this one get more traction, but it hasn't for a while. It may start being more of a soul. But a conservation contract, it's a legal agreement between the FSA and the borrower with loan secured by real estate. So that's key. You have loan secured by real estate suitable for a conservation purpose. That land must be wetland, rural land, or contain other informed wildlife habitats. What I'm trying to do is there's something with the resource here, and maybe we can protect. The simplest thing, if they want to look at it, is we'll develop a conservation contract review team to sell to experts from USDA and NRCS. So the AC determine potential acres. So any division wants to consider a program. Usually what I've seen in the past is slough or wetland. Some of these guys can't first. They say, okay, well, you consider conservation contract. Because you're going to see if the contract is, in essence, us crediting their account to reduce their debt while it's even placed in the property. Some guys look at it and say, I'm not farming it anyway, it ain't worth much to me. There's a way to get the dollars. See, if we do it, we agree to a one-time reduction in one of our debt. The borrower agrees not to use the land he owns if he has conservation purposes benefit. So it's land that he's put on, they say, well, put on, they're usually what most to, they gotta maintain weeds and pay the taxes. They can't farm it, till it, hang on. But there's gonna be a conservation review team that reviews if it's suitable or not. The review teams also come up with management plans to help this guy potentially figure out how he needs to do it on page. Amount of debt we reduce is calculated based on the contract length. The borrower can choose 10, 30, or 50 years. Once we sign the contract, it can't be canceled. If you want to sell a property, the contract goes. Can you remember, debt reduced in the contract will not consider debt forgiveness. That's key. Because we got to forgive debt for you, it does impact certain programs. This is not considered debt forgiveness. They basically credit your account. You can request conservation contract anytime. We get it options outlined in our notice of current searching options. So he gets that packet from us, searching options, conservation contract. I've had a few of these done over the years. The guys that did it, more close. I looked at it and said, I'm going for it anyway. So I get some money for them. The length and time is kind of their preference. Long they want to keep it that way. But anyway, the longer the length, the more they will reduce you.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah.
If you enter into a conservation contract, for the 10, 30, or 50 years, would you have to pay the, taxes on what you're being?
You used to own the property. Yes, so there's still be taxes.
But are you taxed on the amount of your debt forgiveness that they give?
Oh, I'm not taxing. I don't know what the rules would be for that.
Okay.
So taxing, principal, but
Okay.
again, I'm not taxing. And I never did ask him to get this program.
Okay.
As far as I know, nobody come back yelling.
That's my recollection. I don't believe I've ever seen Jen as USDA or didn't get. I don't recall it. That doesn't say it doesn't have that.
Well, it'd be on the 1098 state.
Yeah.
Or each pay paid. Well, towns which they paid, so. If it's taxed on
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to look at is the apply for conservation capture. We're going to try to figure, well, if you want to write off debt that way, what's this? Okay. Let's go look at rescheduling. Rescheduling basically is rewriting basic terms for both for loan-based for operating purposes. So again, this is the operating techniques. Loan may reschedule based on retainability. It cannot exceed a term of up to 15 years from being closed. Okay. So, I'll use an example. I made a guy a crop on last year, you can't pay it. If I look at rescheduling, I can look at another up to 15 years possibly to schedule for the loan. I could have a loan I made 4 years ago, this guy, get 3 years left. It applies today for servicing. I look at another 15 years from today. It's a max I can do. No, it says base repayability. In other words, if they got too much pay margin, they'll shorten it. I rarely see that happen. Okay. The reason being, the way the dollars program works, it's trying to find max dollars available for the customer. And you're one. You're used to hearing the terminology, term debt coverage ratio. You can see like 1.1 ratio cover term debt. That basically says, well, if your term debt's $8,000, hopefully you got $1,800 or more, they'll pay it. They get 1.1 or higher. This program does the same thing, but it's 110% of all his expenses. It's operating, living, other debt payments. Now you're talking a bunch of large and rubber that's going to try to find 110% for you. And that's a lot of times you just can't get it. Okay. That's why everyone ever restructured was 15 years. Interest rates, this is kind of nice. They'll get the interest rate for every structure. Either the date they apply, here's my rates, FSA's rates changes. The date you apply, this is my rates, and look at that. The date it closes, let's say it closes a month later, it comes in, my rates go down. Well, they'll consider that lower rates. Or they'll go back to originally straight along. Get the low of the 3. Now, right now, the last couple of years, my rates have been going up. But 3 to 4 years ago, rates were really low. So all these older loans, they got some cheap interest rates. It's not like coming today and they probably work, they're gonna lose that rate of interest. The answer is no. We restructure you, we're gonna give you the lower of that option. So, if your loan originally was 3%, did it 4 years ago, now the rate's 6, what do we do it? You get a key for 3. Okay. Or converse happens. 5 years ago, you got 5%. Now the rates are 3s. You get to 3. You get to lower the options. Really nice. Reamortization. This is rewriting of recent terms of real estate purposes. So farm ownership, land. Loans be reamortized for a term of 40 years from the date of the original premise loan. So we cannot extend beyond 40 years of the original note. And we also cannot extend beyond the useful life of security. So example you're talking about, I made a loan 5 years ago to buy a piece of land. Well, it's going to apply today for service. Potentially I got 35 years left. That's the next thing. I gotta stay with that for 40-year term. Okay. The use life security, there is some loans made on property that don't have that life expectancy. Hog barns, potential poultry barns. They may have life expectancy of 15 years. They're only gonna go 15 years. Can't go beyond life expectancy. You only gonna go back to it's got to be within 4 years. Okay. The after loans, 15 years to age 10. This one, so that could be quite a payments. Real estate loans, you always got to stay within what's left. A lot of times your payments are going to change a lot. Okay. This one, the rates are still the same. You have the choice of date of the application, date of restructuring, or where the original rate was. So I guess I'll let you know about rescheduling and reorganization. Rescheduling is our notes. And I'll tell you right now, I have to bring my calculator. But this guy originally had a 7-year note. 3 years later, he applies for service, so we do a 15-year term. His payments go down quite a bit. There's a big difference between the 7-year payment term versus 15. Okay. So that one can give you a lot of help. This one here, maybe not as much. You still gotta live in the original time. Okay. Consolidation. All this one is when you combine 2 or more loans into one. But it's only available for the operating loans. Your real estate loans can't do this. You want to do it for operating. Okay. It cannot be a loan that's got real estate as security. So it's a true operating loan is all it has for collateral is chattels, props, livestock, machine. You got real estate, this is an option for you. Again, with consolidation, loan fee scheduled for up to 15 years. Consolidation. Interest rate's the same. The nice thing about this one, they qualify for, I can see now. And they said 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of loans we've closed, probably a pretty rate of interest. See the loans low of 1.5%. Now they're at 5 or 6. Well, when you look at your consolidated note, you'll look at the lowest rate for all the notes you want to consolidate. So one done 4 years ago, 1.5, and this other one's at 5. So they'll pull that in. So between the two, what about 1.5? Well, not this whole package. 1.5. And that's what this could be. I can see this being a benefit for current interest rate retirement. Okay. But again, it's only for operating loans. You can't have real estate for security. If it is, you can't do this. If it is real estate security on it, all you look at is reschedule the loans. Defer. All right. I never did money in these, did a few. Okay. What deferral is, it's postponing your payment of principal, interest, or both. Reduce the loan payments in initial years, result in higher payments for years after deferral. But you will continue to accrue interest. Okay. Deferrals be done whole or part, 1 to 5 years. They're generally done in conjunction with scheduling exemption. I'll show you an example. To do a deferral, basically deferral is for how long deferrals for, it's 1 or 5 years. Will reduce your payment to part or none, which you want to do. You can't pay anymore. The deferral goes off. Now we'll start collecting. So they need that second plan that shows the deferral disappears. This ain't gonna work. The only time deferrals really work, if you think about it, is something's gonna happen to increase your bottom line in FSA. That means deferral goes off, you get more income or less expenses. Deferrals I saw that worked was basically when a payment disappeared from something. You got a tractor, people get 2 years left, 15 grand a year. So in year 3, I don't have to pay anymore. I got 15 grand more to work with to pay FSA. That may example they do a 2-year deferral to reduce payment to us. And we'll come back when you can pay us because that payment's gone. Okay. We gotta demonstrate we pay both deferral year. When they do this deferral period form, a program takes the one to get the greatest improvement toward debt year 1, can please margin year 1. They also the shortest deferral period possible. And you'll see why in a second is important. So the system of dollars, which are the amount of debt to deferred based on plan. So it's based on plan to do it. Deferral, I need 2 plans for you to look at. Right now, and you have to defer. So here's an example we did. This guy had a $200,000 option. So we went to schedule 15 years at 2.5%. We did that normally, just rescheduled it. His payment year would have been $16,050. Now I want you to understand with rescheduling the payments, our payments are always the same every year. Because we do what's called equal amortized payments. Each year you're paying more principal and interest in 10th at a time. So in this case, just to reschedule this thing, paying you 16 grand a year. If we did a 1-year default, 1-year full deferral, that means for 1 year we defer the entire payment. Okay? He makes no payments first year. Our subsequent payments are calculated, you're paying 200 grand, we need 14 years. So now it's being amortized for payment period of 200 grand with 14 instead of 15. So payment's gonna go up less time. But the nice thing about it, that interest that accrued during the deferral year, so 1 year full of interest, 200 grand at 2.5% deferred rate. They take that interest and they'll add that amount to each payment over 14 years. So take that and say they had $1,400 for accrued interest. Every year your payment would be $100 more. Pay back the deferred interest. Why are they trying to shorten the deferrals? They can, but that didn't change it too much. 16, 17, but you need more money. The paying the deferral goes up. But if they do a 5-year deferral, maybe not for 5 years. Again, they do the same calculation. But instead of 14 years, I got 10 years left. So I need 200 grand to pay back over 10 years. So it's a lot more per year gonna happen. Plus, all that should accrue over 5 years. So let's say it's $14,000, $10,000. Man. An extra $1,000 a year. We're going to the hand these things, like deferred interest. So this example here, 5-year deferral, you're paying 25 grand. That's what it said for a deferral to work. Cause if you're just gonna restructure, it's gonna be 16 grand. And then you want to make it 0. If you get a deferral, your payments are gonna go up. So if you could pay it here, what's changing in paying here? That's what I say. Tell my clients. Something's gotta happen. Either gotta show more income or less expenses. The income side example is gonna be maybe attention to guys going, I'll call CAF is increasing, gonna have more CAF, more income. I have more income, so it's time to get the herd of the size. The majority of ones I see, however, is had some debt payment issues. It could be like a dairy, he's got a bunch of open accounts. But you know what? By paying the open accounts off, return to deferral, you're not collecting from me. Now you get more money to pay when you come back. That's exactly what deferral. That's when it works best, it's only 1 or 2 years. Now, all these programs we're talking to you about, dollars was going out of order. They do the conservation contract first. Now looks at rescheduling reamortization. It's rewriting some terms. If that'll work, that looks at deferral. It does that by steps. So it finds an option of rescheduling that works, you'll never get deferral. Breakdown is an option that considers when rescheduling don't work, deferral don't work, what about rate? Breakdown debt is just like it sounds. We basically saying, hey, you see the debt load you have, we can't get to work. But what happens if you break part of it off? Get that debt to a level we can't pay down. That's what we call breakdown. This option results in our debt being written off to government. Dollar system handling determines the best decision for government to write it off or restructure based on next terms. What you talked about there. We talk about present value of debt, net recurring value of assets. Gotta remember, government agencies gotta protect government's interest. If they look at rate down, they're gonna look at if we restructure this debt to this level, what really is the present value to FSA that what is it worth us taking? They compare that figure to the net recurring value of our security. If they had to liquidate the account, consider all these costs, prior liens, management fees and so forth. What's recovered cost us? If it says you owe me 100 grand, but I can't make it work at 80 grand. If it says this present value is 80 grand, it means $75,000. It's based on your discount. The dollar worth us today. Then it says, okay, here's your recovery value. The present value is 75, my recovery value is 80. It's going to say no, because the agency better off liquidating than restructuring. Then we come back and it says, yep, the present value is 80, the recovery value is 75. We'll do that. We'll write it down. More benefit to that than other ones. They're only going to write it down to what the plan says works. Some guys will walk in and say, it's not worth 50 grand. Write it down to 50 grand. Oh. If you can pay back 75, that's how further I'm going to go. So that's what you look there. And we can look at an option of this. It's beneficial to do that or split people account. To be also write down, you have to be delinquent with programs. That's what we talked about. Current, tell me it didn't matter. You have to be delinquent for this one. You cannot receive prior debt forgiveness. As the date restructuring passed, they did write down with you. You can't have another one. Once you get it, you're done. If we're gonna write off debt for you, cannot exceed 300. And they say now they will from you. Again, the amount of write-off calculated the health program, once you analyze plan, you have for income to pay. Appraised value of the clouds, and it's determined what the current value of the assets are. What the existing balance of us are. And what that treasure building, that goes by the present value. That's what you consider. Considerations for rate. So I tell all the clients, you may owe a lot of money. The early day I talked about this individual had a huge outflow. Well, if we can't make it work what you have, you're delinquent. Don't consider me writing it down. Make it work. But figure to consider. Don't you see one right down? Because some guys that go through right now say like $5,000. Ain't worth it. I may want this down the road. Something else happens. They may not do it. So they got to consider that. Once they do this, you have one, there's no more. Among the debt written off considered loss to government and will impact the FSA loan eligibility. So we'll talk about that. If we write off debt rate down, it's going to limit the taxable what they can get.
I add something to that.
Yes.
If you have any write down, any kind of time that the government took a hit, like you didn't pay some taxes or you got a write down with FSA, you are not eligible for FSA loans for a whole host of other government loans. And I had farmers who had write downs previously from the government, could not get in during this, through the disaster. Sure. Yeah, and they're actually not kidding. I had one business person who had filed a bankruptcy 17 years earlier. Started a business and the bank was going to do a guaranteed loan. And they could not get it because they had filed a bankruptcy 17 years earlier. So they're not getting hurt. Look at that.
Yeah, it's your part as a debt forgiveness.
So if you get one right, then that disqualifies you. If you're at this thing long.
Certain types.
Okay.
You no longer get a term loan from us on the direct side. That's what I'm getting on to buy land or equipment. So if we did that right down for the can't go through that. So you're eligible for basically just want a crop loan. They still give you those. You have this, but a term loan. So that's it. Okay. So I consider that option. Again, we'll report the rate on the IRS, and you may have a liability. Again, tax or tax, you check for tax. And when they make offers to people, they always have that clause in the letter, say check with your tax. Another thing considered too is write down debt secured by real estate. It includes recapture provision. The borrower may be required to repay all or part of it if real estate collateral increased in value during the 5 years after rate down. This is only applicable if we have real estate secured or we took real estate. If I didn't write down to you and all you have is chattel loans and no real estate and all involved that you want, you write down, that's it. There's no recapture. We're done. It fixed it. So, but if we write down debts and you have land, now remember, if we restructure the delinquent loan, we're at the lien on their assets potentially 5. So maybe you don't have your land, but we're going to now. We do break it. If you have land for cloud or land for security, they're going to have you sign what we call a shared depreciation. It's an agreement that says basically FSA wrote off this much debt. And it said they did it. Here's the value of your land. this agreement's for 5 years. If anytime during that 5-year time frame, you want to sell a property, you want to pay us back full, you want to pay off your multiples. Or the 5 years is up, whichever occurs first. We'll trigger this agreement. So if I wrote off 50 grand 5 years ago, your property's worth 100 grand 5 years ago. Now it's 5 years. They'll get an appraisal done today. This is landlord today. It's 100 grand back then, and now it's raising 120. It went up $20,000. Well, if what triggered the agreement was within 4 years, 75% of that gain, they're gonna want paid back. It's kind of like a contingent liability. But within 5 years, it triggered it. Half that gain, the agency was paid back. So 10 grand. Okay. They're never gonna ask for more money to pay back than what is for you. But there is potentially debt that they want to pay, so it's just not gone forever. This program. Now, don't just confuse the conservation contract. That's not considered debt write-down. Debt forgiveness. So yourselves for loans and everything else. So, but the write-down, it's considered debt forgiveness. And they may want part of that back.
If you did a write-down, but then you ended up basically maybe paying back essentially the same amount that they wrote down, then would you be eligible for other loans?
Yeah, it's because you paid the whole thing back. You only pay part of it back and you still have a loan.
Okay.
Now, we've had individuals that paid it all back. Because they wanted to, potentially. Could. That would extend good graces, particular multi-state. Now, what we're seeing, at least in Minnesota, land value going straight up. And 5 years is not a long time frame. Can forget about it. So all of a sudden, this 5 years ago, like I said, it's contingent liability. They didn't know if they're going to owe it or not. Says on the balance sheet, here's what I owe you. If I say it's debt, then here we come along 5 years later and say, okay. We remind you every year, don't forget it. Their mail. Okay. 5 years is up. I'm gonna say, hey, guess what? We gotta figure this out. Because the land value jumped so much, all of a sudden land increased a lot. And so we may wrote up a big chunk of change. They now owe a big, and that is a problem today. Because their 5 years is up, at least they owe this. And they've been chugging along for 5 years not worrying about this debt. And all of a sudden, they get a couple of times now. Where am I going to find money to pay the surcharge? That's going to be a bigger issue today, especially what's happening with this. Yes, sir.
They don't have to sell land if it appreciates to the point where they're gonna.
It's whatever triggers your agreement first. They want to sell it off like after 3 years, that's going to trigger the agreement. Because we got to figure out how much you really owe us. But then in 5 years, they still own it. That triggers it to whatever occurs first.
Yeah, another question. So the right now.
Could you speak up a little bit? I'm so sorry. We're having trouble hearing you.
The write down is debt forgiveness and the conservation contract is debt reduction.
Right.
Okay.
It's a credit to the account. Okay.
Thank you.
So I said the conservation contract, do that. We're going to reduce our debt load to less. But if we do it, they're never going to ask for it back. When they extend their program benefits and everything else. Things too more loans and so forth. For this program, you are limited. Okay. Right? But this only if you have real estate. If you have no real estate right off your debt, that's it. There's no recapture due. But if you own land, they're gonna take it, they're gonna write off debt. And they're gonna figure out potentially recapture we do 5 somewhere down the road. Now, if down the road 5 years come by, it's worth 100 grand back then, it's worth 100 less today, you own nothing. It's gone.
I got one more question. The recapture, is the 5 years, is that the etched in stone, or is that what's it?
The 5 years maturity, as long as that agreement goes.
Okay.
And an agreement that tells you it can be triggered earlier if something happens, you want to sell property off. Or some guys after a couple years say, I want to pay you, I want to pay you off. I said, we got that. Because they're afraid of what this recapture.
Right.
They said, well, let's get out of here. Let's pay you off. And I was saying, fear of recapture, we'll be out of here before we got to worry about that down the road. I see that happen too. So the unfortunate part of this thing, it's a contingent liability. They don't know. And I'll guarantee a lot of farmers kind of ignore it. With this day and age, we have our land values around here. It's gonna be a problem. It's a good problem, and what value a lot of debt.
So you may be forced to sell, just.
Well, potentially, hopefully not. But yeah, it's somehow we gotta deal, they gotta deal. Okay? That's debt rate. Okay? So this beauty of this dollars program, I told it what you gotta be able to pay us. Here's this little window once within. I say, here's a deficit, it goes it goes through all these calculations. Now, what Dollars tries to do, it wants to find you 110%. If it can. If it can't, it look at 109. Don't work, it keeps going. Okay? Now, there's some examples where it finds your payment at 105. But to do that, it said we had to do rate down, which you qualify for. Okay. But it says, you know what, if we go down to 100%, I can make that work without a rate. So we end up giving John Doe or Jane Doe two options. Option one, you can write it down. Or option two, no rate down, but here's what's going to be instead. They can choose which one they want. I said, some might take example, this is important. Take it there. Or somebody else say, we're going to take it. They get their choice. But it tries to find 110%. Now, I would tell you honestly, some people figure, well, I got this much collateral, I go there, go there right down. Don't assume that. Because how these calculations work between present value of the debt, every recovery of the collateral, so much involved there. I've seen cases where we were fully secured. You know, we still wrote off some debt. Just the way the calculations work. Say we're expecting it, well, they won't. So that's what it does. But it keeps trying to go, but it tries to find 110 first. It tries to maximize the repayment margin in year one for some. And then 110% big figure when we figures 110% all your farming expenses and so forth. Yeah, if you got 30 grand of farm expenses, left at 30 grand margin, they want to try to follow. But stops there first. One says each action. Once it finds one that works for you, look at. So like I said, we go through here and it just says reschedule works just fine for you at 110%. It goes no further. Never consider deferral or write down forward.
Can the farmer request that it look at other options?
Dollars runs the whole thing. It'll tell us the answer. Okay. But when it does, it's the answer. If it gives the write down option to them, if they can find a little later on, it tries to find the max, right? Okay. To get there, we had to write down. So, well, how about one level less? One level less. Can you get one without write down? It keeps looking. If it finds one, it quits looking. That's what he said. If it does get, the write down is an option that says, debt load you got. We can't find enough repay margin to pay the debt load back. Considering 15 years, 35 years of real estate, consolidation, deferrals, can't get to work. Now, it's right, only at that point in time. If you're playing. Writing down data said we still can't get to work because of current value here is present value is here. I'll go to the next one, 109%, starts it all over again. Can we find something? That's how much you understand. You'll never get to deferral if rescheduling works for you. You'll never get to write down reschedule or deferral. Once in all those different combinations, you got a guy that can write down and deferral. Just get that. This thing does all the paper for you. So your question, can you request a certain option? All we're gonna do is put in what your plan has. It'll tell us what we'll do. It treats everybody the same. But there's a maximum. So that's why there is cases where they get right down to this level. But with a little tighter repayment margin works down here. They'll give them two choices and to choose from.
It just, it sounds like what you put in though is really important to
It
what
is.
you're gonna get out.
It is, that's key, that's something very much should clarify. When they put this pro stuff in the system, okay, we need this cash flow. Hopefully that plan has been agreed upon between you and FSA. Television. Okay. It should be. Now, there may be cases where FSA says we can't agree to this plan for whatever reason. Okay? And in that scenario, what they do is they will run the thing based on the FSA thought was more comparable to that. Just hit the answer is. If the answer is no, I can't do it. They're going to notify you if it doesn't work. And they're going to notify you, here's a plan we use versus the plan you had. Okay. So if there's disagreement, you're going to have more opportunities to see if they get on the same page for the plan. But FSA rules require certain things that we can't implement certain plans. Yeah, so here's a case, sometimes the two sides don't agree. This probably sounds facetious, but maybe the plan was they want to use 250 bushel an acre in corn production. To make it work. Here's all the historical data. They've only averaged 180. Or our rules say, whatever you want us to use, we gotta be able to support. If we can support it, fine. We can't use it. So that's where they might revise the plan to match what they feel is supportable, and then we'll look at it. But I want you to understand, if two plans don't agree, they're gonna give you more rights if you disagree and we're in error. Okay, which can be reconsideration, appeal mediation.
So as an FSA, as an FSA person, are they willing to continue to change things often to make it work? Or does it become a point where you become a hassle? The farmer becomes a hassle because it's trying to change little nuances of a number to make it work.
There's no hassle. Now, what happens? Sometimes you're gonna run this program, as you say. Okay. If they tell you that, they're also gonna say in that little letter, no, how much more margin you need to get to be a yes. So that gives you the ability to say, well, here's the plan we used. We gotta find this much more dollars. We do. This is gonna work for us. Now, what can you possibly change that we still get support? So those are some things you consider. Hopefully, the first time you do it, all the ducks in a row. Here's what I got. That's why I always tell all my clients the same thing. You make sure you are comfortable. You can support everything you're telling besides me. This program will tell you, can I fit? And so I gotta make sure you can do it. So let's propose.
Can I ask another question? If we have an FSA person who's unwilling to work with us, are we able to go to a different county to have them run the numbers? Or does it have to be your local
you're supposed to work with the town that covers the area. So they don't move. Like, I won't speak on percent. I know it's getting there, certain office that people like working with. The bottom line is whatever county they have to deal with, don't move people around and push something else to. Okay. All I'll say to that. Pick up. I hated it when we've had called the question about somebody else in different office. There's a lot of nuances involved. So when they would call, I would just explain things in general. It's the best they can do. Because everybody's looking the same thing, or should do. I know what you're saying. Hopefully that's few and far between. Some people maybe won't stay off. They do something. Some people figure something out. But hopefully, get something looking. Because I'll tell you what, we got a lot of tools in our toolbox to use. What's our goal? Family operations, feasible, viable, plan. If we got tools to help them get there, so be it. Okay? Because our tools are pretty good compared to what you'll find out in the other friends second. Okay. Last thing I'm going to cover here. What? Okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to quit. I'm going to keep cruising. Current market value buyout. This is the options given. When they apply for servicing, we can't find it. They went to the calculation, says we can't make it. That happens, they'll often current market value. If you apply to be developed, you're often bought. Current market value is delinquent borrowing, you say it's the current market value less liens. They do that over these areas. Okay. But they pay attention for the time. But to give them this option, we can't get to work. But this option, paying my market value, and that's basically value is collateral, that's prior liens, holding costs and so forth. And if we're linked, because we get out of it, you pay us that, we don't. But you only get this option if you're delinquent, you apply for servicing, you can get to work. Okay. Just goes through can't have a viable plan. You can't receive debt forgiveness in the past. So if you already received it once, we can't do it again. They can't receive time. Again, if you give that option, you get 90 days. Other options. I got disaster citizen. This is another flyer explains disaster set aside. Again, this is a fact sheet you can find online. Disaster set aside allows borrowers to set aside a payment in a loan they can't make an installment due to a declared disaster. Okay? To do this program, we have to have a declared disaster. So this is an optional site service. It's just another program. So if there's a declared disaster account, it opens up this program called disaster set aside. The only time this one from the play is you have to have the disaster declared. They got to apply for 8 months to designation. So we get these designations, they'll say on there how long I got to apply for. Okay? Now they're going to notify you of this program through the government delivery. So that's key. Then hopefully have government delivery, they get notified that hey, this program out there to help with your payment. This is a temporary type thing, I call it temporary work. They can make payment for a temporary purpose. We can do this. This isn't a servicing one restructuring loans, it's just setting aside and paying. Eligibility. Got an operating farm declared disaster, Tago's county, this county that's next to it. It acted good faith. You can't make your payments. Not only mine, doesn't necessarily mean mine, but somebody else's too, and pay things. If we do the set aside, get a feasible plan for next year, doesn't, postpone it this year it come back and play, game plan to show it works. Can't be a default, no contract violations. The loan itself to be set aside, that's to have 2 or more years remaining. So you can't use this program for a crop, because that was still. So it's for term loans, so they have these 2 years remaining. Account can be accelerated. If you do it for you, you get a current with us. And you can only have one set aside at a time. So if you get this, your foreign loan, you can't do it again. Okay. I like this one because the application requires pretty simple. I need the request before you go 150 days past due. I need a request right, so there's no official form. I've had clients come to the counter and say, hey, I hereby request is access and we're gonna go sign it. That's all I gotta have, along with their records looking, what's the records they need. Disaster information, so I can show there was a delinquency. And 2, I need that plan that shows if we get it next year, we can make it work. Now, this basically is the temporal, it's the one time deal. He's still paying for this year. Okay. Come on. Alright. Like, I like that program because it's short and sweet, just going to apply. Okay. That nice thing about that program is we don't take additional scrutiny. Until we have these. Okay. That's been on this here. Thank you. This is a new program we just come out this past year. This one came out after I left. I like this. Too. Again, you can set aside a payment. Yeah, do. But the other one we set aside, what they do, they do the set aside. Let's say you have $4,000 longer offer. And you can't do the set aside. They'll pretend you made that payment. So if you had paid in 1/1, you'd have paid, let's say, $2,500 principal and $1,500 of interest. You would have paid. Okay? They're literally will set that aside. Here it sits. Now, if you make payments hereafter, it's based on whatever's left, whatever did get set aside. So you're gonna make the payments based on this portion, whatever it is. Okay? It just sits here. Then we pay back until you want to pay it back. Or the loan matures, whatever. But your interest will accrue. This never changed. But your interest will accrue on this thing each year based on whatever interest rate you got. So your loan's at 5%. You pay 5% your interest. They just set it aside. This one here. The difference is I don't need disaster alert. This one has no disaster alert. This one does not. But you had that loan as of September 25th. Okay, so all these loans are closing this year. Won't be this program. Right? So this one is nice because it's set aside amount. This is going to accrue interest is only going to be at 1.8% interest, not the normal. Yeah.
When the clock starts ticking, you got 90 days past, you go to FSA installment out to it, and then you get that application there for to get that into that program.
Well, they cannot be delinquent. So you got to play before they go.
Oh, so that helps. Okay, okay, so this one, huh? Right, did not have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So those bills are pretty straightforward. Same as the other one. Good faith, can't set aside more than one. Can't be able to pay things. The next year's plan's got to work. All right. But the key difference is here. Outstanding is temporal. Okay. Again, you can have 2 or more years left going on the loan. And if we do it for you, you get the current after we're done.
So that is just, I would go in there and tell you, hey, let's have trouble for a deal. Is that, okay.
Yeah, that law was on paying on the 25th. Never had said it before. The first one we talked about, you had to have declared disaster in a small window. And we like this one, same process. Just come in, sign it for them. I requested. Just no people. Has to, okay? And other than that, the only information I have, need is see your actuals, to show you had problems. And show your plan for next, show them, and you come back. If we do that, we're good. It's a lot quicker process, maybe, than the other one.
So this would be a good program, especially this year when we have very low commodity.
Yes.
People can, for example, make that real estate payment that's due in January. To probably go in December and say, I'm not going to be able to pay it, this is why.
Yes,
That's good.
because you don't need, you don't need disaster.
That's a good program.
But the kicker is gonna be, all these guys got loans this past fall, summer. Gotta be able to think it's the 25th. And you gotta have a term loan, maybe you get in 2 years advance, that's what the crop only made. You can't do it.
And I'm thinking just mostly about the real estate.
Yep. And until this program, it's a temporary thing, okay? It's a one-time deal. It's not meant to circumvent the other service conflicts. They may be a better fit for them. But there's cases like this, price, whatever. It's a one-time gig. I can pay normal. But you only allowed it one time, okay? I'm gonna skip that. It's real time. So basically, what I've heard for you, basically, certainly actions moving. Believe me when I say, there's a lot of things in your toolbox they can do. And they're gonna use it. We got it, let's use it. We're in a position, we're here to help families. What can we do? I like dollars. It's easy for me. Like everything else, correct. Just saying, the advocates help, farmers also. What's your plan? It appears to be viable. Don't worry about what you all mean. I will look at it. There's a lot of things I can do to make it fit. If they can't, let's do it. All right. Mary says I'm done.
We have, just a few more minutes and then we're gonna all meet back in the main ballroom at 4:30. So you do have some time for questions, but if you want to break, basically we would be eating into your break.
What,
Yeah.
does the doc, is kind of related, well, maybe it's kind of related. You have like a program that evaluates laws, similar to the program that evaluates whether that girl, do you have a dollar program?
For loan 18?
Yeah.
No, but on the websites, there's the website you can go to, like the farmers.gov and so forth. There's resources. Right, and the nice thing about the farmers.gov, this one here, they got a loan assistance tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go into it, it'll ask you questions, what are you looking for? And it'll get you eventually a chance to question. It'll pop up and say, well, here's some options we have for you. Okay. That's more for loan assistance. Okay. So like I said, these fact sheets I gave you, none of these things to this game for you. But these two resources are good. Find information. Don't hesitate to go to your local office, see it. Hopefully your local office can work for you. So help you out. These are all service dimensions. I know I was here, we had this earlier session about talking about an issue in a party. Now, there's a lot of cases, don't be afraid to bring yourself and your client in and talk to FSA. FSA, you can go up to here, so if you have questions. Because we're here to help them. If they don't tell me their problem, we can't solve it. Because you've seen all those options, myriad options, too damn many to know. Once I know what you got going on, I can help guide you down. Here's to be a fit for you. Let's see, I guess. The other question anybody has,
Thank you, Mike.
forgive me for not getting through it all, but that's the main crux you want. The other ones I had to have, that's more, I'm worried about, that it doesn't hurt. This here is the surfing office. And FSA got one, trust me, I say they got one. 15 years from now, a long time. Banks don't go that far. Maybe 70 years. Real estate goes for 40 years. A long time. Banks don't go that far. Deferrals. Banks don't do deferrals. And trust me, write downs, banks don't do that either. We have these tools, they're there, use them. We'll use them. It helps, if you want to do it. So I appreciate your time. Make sure everything, that'd be a while for you to pick some stuff up here, so it'll be more question, but otherwise, guys, enjoy your day, and so they seem to travel quite a ways away, so welcome to Minnesota. You got good weather here. Could have been here a few weeks ago with 95 in the shade. Humid. You thought it was hot in here today. It's just all around Washington. And because they didn't do this to winter time.